Whoever you are, and wherever you find yourselves on your journey of faith, know that you are most welcome here to receive God's goodness, mercy, and love. Amen. I only got to meet Luke a few times when he would come with his parents and sisters to Christmas Eve services here at Abiding Peace. Beyond those services, Luke wasn't much of a church person, but he was something much more important. He was a love person. I know this because of the way that his parents talked about him during his life, and because of what so many people have shared in their comments and stories on the Everloved site in the past 2 months. Story after story, comments on his kindness and the positive influence he had on other people's lives, and the way that he lived out the practical ways that love gets expressed in daily life by bringing humor into corrective feedback when training a new employee to make the new hire comfortable instead of feeling taken to task, by seeing other people's potentials and encouraging them to pursue their dreams, by sharing his passion for music, by making friends mix CDs with or without a roasting factor, by chatting on a dock like an old, comfortable friend, even when that wasn't the case, by living every day as a chance to practice love for other people and for the world around him. Because love is a practice, much more than it is a feeling. It's an aspect of our character. It's something that we do or fail to do in the simple, everyday moments of our lives. This is one of the central messages of the reading we heard this morning from Paul's first letter to the Corinthian church. This reading is often referred to as the love chapter, and it's quoted so frequently that it tends to be at least somewhat familiar even to many folks who are not church people. What may be less familiar is the context for this poetic description of love. Paul was writing to a community in conflict. The early Christian church in Corinth was located in a trade port city where cultures crossed and power and money played their universal games. And predictably, this set the stage for social clashes. And since the churches, now and then, were made up of imperfect people, these clashes crept into the church community as well. High-status people lorded it over slaves and other poorer members. Power players tried to use their power to gain influence and recognition within the faith community. People made questionable decisions and others carried tales, and then there was the competitive righteousness games. This is the community that Paul is addressing when he offers his challenge to live lives characterized by love. It's why he offers all of those extreme examples of piety at the beginning of the reading, and then says that they are all meaningless without love. He's addressing a group of people who are being twisted and torn by the lie that success, according to their culture's standards, is what they should be pursuing. And he's trying to get through to them that none of those things actually matter. What matters is love. And this is what love looks like. It looks like patience and kindness with those who haven't figured out the kitchen system at Panera yet. It looks like kindness to family and friends of your friends, even though you don't really know them that well. It looks like a talent for humility and an eagerness to feed other people's dreams. It looks like being the kind of person whose cats are excited to see you when you get home because other creatures know how important they are when you're around. Luke's parents told me that their choice of the 1 Corinthians text for today's service was inspired by what Luke's sister Hannah wrote about the wisdom for living that she received from her brother. Just love yourself and other people. Luke's mom, Mary Beth, then told me, Luke succeeded at love. I would be pretty happy if the same thing were said about me after I'm gone. I imagine all of us would. But there's one more thing that we can say about Luke that I think we would all aspire to as well. He succeeded at being loved. The people gathered here today in the sanctuary and those joining us online and all who've left memories on the website and dropped by the house to offer food or hugs or shared tears are all a testament to how well loved Luke was, which is a comfort. Shared pain is perhaps a little bit easier to bear. But there's one more comfort that I need to speak as well. The reminder that Luke is still, now, actively held in love. Our arms can't hold him anymore. Our lips can't speak words of love and appreciation for who he is and the impact he has on our lives. But the love that spoke the universe into being and that designed Luke in his mother's womb and that is expressed in the beauty of the world that Luke so loved is a love that reaches beyond the grave and holds Luke now with the completeness that all of us here can only imagine. The Corinthian reading tells us that we now know only in part. The second reading from Revelation offers one imagination of what the wholeness of love will look and feel like. Among all of those of us gathered here, I would guess we could offer a beautiful diversity of imaginings about what that love will look and feel like when we see it face to face. And until we know, until we have that experience, we can be comforted by knowing that Luke has reached that completeness ahead of us. He knows the wholeness of the love that wipes away every tear. Luke lived a life of love, and that life ended too soon. And that is a pain and a loss that has cost this world a valuable teacher. Just like the Corinthian church, we all need the reminder about what matters and what doesn't, about what kind of success we should really strive for. It's my hope that even though Luke isn't here with us anymore, to model a life of love for us, that we will each hold on to the lessons that his life has left, to love others, and to love yourself, and to trust that you are loved. Thanks be to God.
Thank you all for being here today. It's so great to see everyone together. We're grateful to be in the presence of people who were loved and cherished Luke. I know Luke would be overwhelmed by all the love that can be felt here, but I can't help to think that he might be underwhelmed that we didn't take the opportunity to tell everyone that this service would be pirate-themed with mandatory parrots. I could picture him shaking his fist, letting out a yarg, and giving eye rolls at DJ's nautical puns. It's too easy to picture that, right? We don't think he ever truly understood how endearing and lovable his silly nature was. He wielded a seemingly extraterrestrial sense of humor and paired it with compassion for his family, friends, and our shared world. At times, it would be challenging to keep up with his quick wit and just general brilliance. Every interaction seemed like a choose-your-own adventure, considering that he could easily offer kindness or chaos, empathy or entropy, mindfulness or mayhem, and on all occasions, all of the above. Or to simply vent about the most recent loss by the New York Mets. Retracing our time with Luke, we've come to fully realize and appreciate why we've all become friends over 20 years ago. For those of you who don't know us, we're a group of Luke's childhood friends: Bobby, DJ, Eric, Jake, Mike, and myself, Frank. Collectively, the 7 of us call ourselves the Lumberjacks. How we came to known by this name is not clear, but one thing is very clear. It's all Luke's fault. When we were young, Luke had a strong desire to watch bad movies. Cheesy, low budget, poorly edited, just bad. But he didn't want to watch them alone. So seemingly at random, he selected his classmates and neighbors to watch them together. To introduce them to the expansive world of cheesy C-grade movies through the high-quality venue known as the Mueller's basement. Mystery Science Theater 3000, The Genius of Mel Brooks, collections of bizarre skits performed by the Monty Python troupe, the same troupe that performed the classic Lumberjacks song. Whether it was a trio of outcasts watching bad movies in space, irrelevant parodies of classic stories, or collections of British creative misfits estimating the flight speed of an African swallow, it was obvious to Luke that we should try to emulate these silly beings. Silly just made sense to Luke. Here we arrive at the origins of the bad movie party, which quickly became staple in our lives. Leave it to Luke to turn a group of random classmates into a group of lifelong friends. These things, initiated by Luke, kept us together for longer than we anticipated, and for far longer than we wanted. Now we're stuck with each other. Thanks, Luke. We acknowledge that we are certainly not the only ones influenced by Luke's unique taste. He truly had an uncanny ability to fill life with music, film, and literature. Can you think of a song, movie, or book recommendation? Can you think of 20, 50, or 100? Making excellent recommendations you didn't know you needed, but was one of his superpowers. Superpowers? Surely you can't be serious. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. Luke was always quick with a side-busting one-liner and a quirky joke. There are too many to list. However, a few of our favorites. Declaring himself the founding member of the All-American Association Against the Abuse of Acronyms, AA. Substituting a birthday card with a condolence card for Jacob, crossing out, "I'm sorry for your loss," and writing, "Happy birthday." Playing Whose Line Is It Anyway in front of anyone who would tolerate it. Heckling Mike while working on calculus homework, advising him to don't drink and derive. Creating an entire line of Bobby dolls. Pillow Tester Bobby, Congressman Aids Bobby, Ming Dynasty Bobby, and the limited time offer, Bobby. Workshopping the next Broadway hit with DJ, Let's Be Frank. A traditional retirement-themed rock opera starring yours truly as a broke college student masquerading as a retiree while attending Florida University, the big FU. Traveling through Germany, Luke bet me €1 to do anything and everything. And there was that one time he acknowledged Eric, another instant Luke classic. While at Disney World one day, we were at the food court of our hotel. While Luke the man needed a lunch break, his creativity did not. Taking his placemat and some crayons, he began to feverishly draw, and it wasn't until too much later that we realized what he had done. Scrawled in colorful letters were the words magic, followed in the plainest text possible by "Isn't real." Where's this piece of art? We don't know. We all wish to take it for posterity, but alas, Luke insisted on leaving it so that the children would know Disney's best-kept secret, the truth. Nonetheless, Luke himself was magic. He wielded some of the otherworldly powers when we face off across the table, physically or virtually, in a game of intellect and imagination. Risk, Munchkin, Settlers of Catan, and perhaps more importantly, Hearthstone, Luke was a force to be reckoned with. We can't forget when he created the overpowered final boss in Munchkin, but in true Luke fashion, it forced all the players to work together to defeat it. On another fine night, at 2 a.m, Luke refused to concede Asia to Jacob in a game of Risk that is probably still ongoing. As a game master, Luke occasionally had a flexible interpretation of the rules. He would erupt with convenient tactics which were either embarrassingly correct or just wrong. Luke was relentless at play, but just as dogged working for what he cared about. At the Walden School at Willowwell was well established for learners who loved nature and had an outdoor classroom, garden, stage, and living art pieces. Luke loved his time there. Every year, Luke took his annual pilgrimage with Dan and DJ, pitched his tent in the field by the outdoor classroom, and slept under the stars. But even before he made camp, Luke would check his garden. He wanted to know what was growing, what beds moved, and what didn't, belong with his precious greens. He spent a lot of time care squatting amongst the tomatoes, garlics, and chard, expertly picking the slugs, earwigs, and grubs. The garden was precious. It was more than his. It belonged to the students of the community at Willowwell, and he wanted to protect it. Even for the short time that he visited Vermont each year, Luke helped the garden grow. He was responsible, patient. He valued what was simple, beautiful, and everyone's. Luke helped things grow. It really didn't get more genuine than Luke. Take it or leave it, he was unapologetically Luke, and we're so thankful for that. We extend our love to Mr. and Mrs. Mueller, Hannah and Grace. We thank you for tolerating our miscellaneous hijinks over the years and for the time the Lumberjacks shared in your home. Luke, we loved you from the moment we met you on the bus stop at Brookwood Road, our first viewing of Pod People at your house, International Speak Like a Pirate Day, our many emails of Strong Bag, consulting the all-powerful Zombocom, watching the demented cartoon movie, and of course, our 700th viewing of Clue, including the black and white with French subtitles. We spent so many years immersed in fictional universes, watching silly nonfiction skits, and trying to match your creativity. We can't help but let our imaginations comfort us and think about where or when you are right now. Perhaps directing the first interdimensional film for Ludicrous Films, or sitting in the basement with Monty, plotting to build an army worthy of Mordor, or navigating the sea of green in a yellow submarine, creating a Hearthstone deck to take down the Lynch King, or joining Joe, Mike, Servo, and Crow on the satellite of love, waiting for a movie sign. Wherever you are, we know that it is made better because they have you. One day, we hope to meet you there. Thank you for making us brothers, and thank you for making us the Lumberjacks.